Lynn Cullen live in 1 minute. Welcome to Lynn Cullen Live at pghcitypaper.com. Email your questions and comments to Lynn at pghcitypaper.com.
Hey! How you doing? Good morning. Couldn't be a better morning. Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Who cares if the government's shut down? Who cares?
Woo!
Woo! Yeah. Jess and I are feeling no pain. Wow. Right before the game started, I turned to my friend. I said, so in 3 hours from now, we're either going to be so ecstatically happy or we are going to be just totally, uncontrollably depressed. So look which one it was. I mean, there were really not even any moments where I can't even watch big games. I keep moving around. I did a lot of that last night too, actually. But my big problem was I couldn't stop eating. There was something about it. I just had to keep ingesting. Yeah, you too? Well, you can't imagine what I mean, it's frightening. I thought maybe I'd die in my sleep. Yeah, it was scary. And then I thought, I've talked about this sort of very oral thing that goes on with baseball players. Their mouths are going throughout an entire game. They're chewing, they're blowing, they're spitting, and I had to just keep putting things in my mouth, unfortunately. I swear, I think I ate a pound of cheddar cheese. Oh my God. Oh God. I'm not going to make it if they go all the way. I'm going to have to be carted off somewhere. Anyway. So, I do have tickets for a game. I do have tickets. I can't believe I'm going to go. Isn't it amazing that this Sunday we're going to be at a ball game in Pittsburgh and it ain't going to be a Steeler game? Isn't that amazing? Oh, so anyway, guys. So we're the Cinderella story. I'll guess. And it was just delightful. And never was the 10th man more effective, I think. Although I have to admit, personally, I don't like that. I don't like taunting of a specific player. I just don't like it. Never have. There's something bullyish about it that I just can never. But then I thought, pull out all the stops, whatever it takes. Yeah, but still. If anybody has anything they want to say, or if you're all even capable of speech, do you think productivity in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania offices today was markedly down because people are, they ate too much last night. They ate too much, they drank too much, they stayed up too late, they couldn't sleep, it was too exciting and all of that. So here I am, and I'm in the same boat. Very little to talk about. And I hate to talk about like the usual stuff we talk about because it's so depressing, and I'm starting to sound like a Valley girl. And, So, well, let's see what I do have here. Who knows? There may be something to talk about, at any rate. I just need to, excuse me. I'm having a little difficulty. Man, okay. No, yes, no, yes, got it. Okay, so it's just you and me today. So I could use all the help I can get because well, anyway, my head is someplace else. Anyway, AMC movie theaters are oh man, see, this is wonderful. If you're a federal employee who has been furloughed as a result of this irresponsible, outrageous, immature, unconscionable shutdown the Republicans have brought upon us, if you are one of those federal employees, and there are a lot of them out there, then guess what? Go to a movie and at AMC theaters, and they'll give you all the popcorn you want.
Aw.
Isn't that nice? Let them eat popcorn. It's a little spin on the Marie Antoinette thing, but they're saying all you have to do is show a federal, government or military ID. Oh no, not all the popcorn you can eat. A free small popcorn. Oh well. AMC Theaters in a statement said this offer is good until common sense is restored in Washington, D.C., or more likely, until the shutdown ends or we run out of free popcorn. There are hundreds of thousands of federal workers whose lives are being impacted. While we can't do anything to resolve gridlock in Washington, we can provide a few hours of entertainment and free popcorn while they wait to get back to work. The purchase of a ticket is not necessary to receive the offer.
Aww.
So, in other words, just stop by a movie theater, get your popcorn, and leave. There you go. Chuck writes, thoughts I had during the pirate game. The Twitter sphere went nuts, when the fan interfered with the home run ball. There were death threats. Oh, God.
Oh my God.
Ain't social media wonderful? You know, I have to tell you, I thought, oh, that guy, oh, geez, oh, man, oh, boy. He's lucky there was some, speaking of that, the Twitter sphere, I saw some vile, just beyond belief, vile postings. The likes of which I've never seen, but then I don't follow, I guess, the kinds of people who generally engage in this kind of it's hard to even describe. It's as if, you stick as many offensive words and images and together in a row and aim it at somebody. It's amazing that people, these are adults too, operate like that. But it was aimed at, I guess, Pittsburgh's own Mark Madden, who I'm sure sends out plenty of obnoxious tweets himself. Anyway, it was really pretty disgusting and over the top. And I think it had to do with the fact that one of the pitcher's wives, did you hear this, Jess? One of the pitchers, the Reds pitcher's wife, not the pitcher who, I'm not sure if he pitched, wasn't the starter, that hapless starter, but she said she was punched in the face or in the head at a Pittsburgh, at a stadium bar or something, more than once. Police are investigating. You don't want to be the ugly.
By a man or a woman?
I don't know. There's always people who go too far. I hope that didn't, good God, I hope that didn't happen. Chuck also writes, it would be interesting to see the Pirates play Jim Leland's Tigers in the series. Oh, yeah. I was thinking when I watched Hurdle last night, he's so likable. I was thinking, I really like him, and I really liked Jim Leland and Chuck Tanner. Are those three of the nicest managers in baseball? I mean, just like sweet, wonderful guys. I actually had the hots for Leland when he first came to town. I did. I thought about making a run, asking him out or something. I remember doing that and then thinking, oh, for God's sakes, just get a handle on it. Yeah. Well, listen, let's not. I mean, from now on, it's gravy. As far as I'm concerned, it's gravy. Done it, did it, blah. If we go all the way, it'd just be unbelievable. But if we don't, that's fine, too, as far as I'm concerned, beyond belief. Chuck also writes, the energy and atmosphere last night took me back to the days of Clemente, Stargill, Sanguillen, Blass, Stennett, Oliver, Zisk, and Hebner. Also, on the Major League Baseball website, there's a story about the 40-foot duck having some sort of special powers. Well, it is true. Since the duck has arrived, we have not lost a game. That is true. I'm just saying. And what was it? Was it just me, or did TBS, where that aired the game last night, did they just show that duck once, and it was sort of in passing, and it was toward the end, and they didn't even mention really anything about it? I think that's a little odd that it didn't come up more often. And while I'm on TBS, God, who is the sportscaster they had at the end of the game on the field interviewing the players? Who was that man, and can somebody help him get dressed?
Oh my God, the blue jacket.
Yes! What was that? What was that? He looked like he was a refugee from like Will Ferrell and Anchorman stuff. I mean, it was like he was dressed out of the 70s in the most horrific colors, horrifying tie, ill, and he had a bad rug, and it was like, I thought, oh my God, who is this person? Get him off. I actually started to tweet something about it, and then I thought, if you don't have something nice to say, then how about, let's say, all I was going to tweet, though, is what in the name of God is that man wearing? Do you know what we're talking about? Okay. And there was Keith Olbermann. Oh, I can't stand that man. And man, Keith Olbermann, who I know a lot of you love because of his MSNBC show and his politics, but he is the biggest horse's ass in the universe. He is. Sorry. He is an unlikable, full of himself, narcissistic blowhard. But all I could think of is, oh, how the mighty have fallen. Jeez. He has managed to lose every job he's ever had because no one wants to work with him. And he was extraordinarily subdued in the pregame show. And I got a feeling that he's, I'm sure he has this new job, but I'm sure he's been told, we're not taking any crap from you, so keep it under control or something. He looked reduced, and you can bet he is, for a guy who used to be such a big shot at ESPN to now be at TBS, and making probably 1/20th of what he was making. But I wasn't happy to see him. I was not. I do not like that man. I do not like green eggs and ham. I do not like him. Okay. Anybody else with any thoughts on that extraordinary, wondrous, unbelievable, who could think it game? Huh? And why are some of these games during the day? What is that about? What's this Friday game in the day? Is it? And even tomorrow's game at 5. What is that? Those aren't times to have a important game, is it? Anyway, just saying. That's all I'm saying. We've got a call. Hello.
Hello, Lynn.
Yes, sir.
Hi, this is Jason. I don't get to call often.
Okay.
But I had to call about the guy that you were talking about at the game last night. He is a commentator for TNT. He is actually known for that style.
Oh.
Now, when you get, that was mild, as it pertains to him. If you really want to see him at some of the NBA games, especially during the NBA playoffs, or his name is Craig Sager.
Okay.
Sager.
Okay.
And he is known for his styles or his wardrobes, whatever. But that was very tame.
Oh my
to what is normal.
God!
And if you had a chance during the NBA playoffs or TNT, any game on TNT when the NBA season starts, you would definitely send out a tweet. That was mild.
Okay, because I mean, it is so retro and horrific, and I mean, it will, even if style is not the right word, because it's the antithesis of style. It's
almost like a private joke among he and the other commentators, but there's a lot more to that, a whole lot more to that, and then it gets sort of weird because I'm thinking, I see it for folks that are not used to seeing him and knows that this is a part of his style. What are you guys thinking? And you answer that question. So, thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Oh God. Ugh. Who was the Pittsburgh sportscaster? And I'm not talking about Bob Prince. I'm talking about who also was known for wearing. Well, I guess in the 70s they all looked like that, but. Thinking of this smart old cookie. Who am I thinking of? Who seems to me they always had like loud jackets, badly fitted, and coupled with really ugly rugs. I mean, that was just sort of the sportscaster wardrobe. But the first time I caught sight of the guy was in a sort of wider shot of the Pirates all cheering and, coming off after the game and high-fiving and hugging. And I saw this guy, because it looked like a clown standing there. And I thought, what is that? And then it turned out he was the network reporter. Jeez. Okay, I'll try to... I bet somebody will send me some retro pictures of him just for my viewing pleasure and enjoyment. That's sort of a hint to some of you who tend to do that kind of thing. Okay, I could talk about this forever. Bill Curry. Yes, thank you. Bill Curry. Thank you, Diane. Didn't he? Yeah, sort of over the top. And speaking of Bob Prince, would he be excited? And speaking of, my friend Nellie King, who any of you who've listened to the show for a long time knows was one of my favorite callers, and I was happy to become a friend. Nellie King, former pirate himself, and who broadcast with Bob Prince, he would be so thrilled. He would be so thrilled. So anyway, it was really cool. Who tweeted? Somebody who's from here. Oh, Howard Feynman of, I don't know, who's he with now? Still like Newsweek, the Daily Beast, the this, the that, NBC, I don't know who's he? Howard Feynman, Washington reporter, who's from Squirrel Hill, graduated from Alderdice. He did tweet during the show something to the effect that he said, he said the city just looks so beautiful, and he was just bursting at the buttons as we Pittsburghers were. Okay. I wish, I have to tell you, I wish, and it's at times like this I really wish it, I wish that somehow, even though I've loved my career, that I could have ended up doing sports talk. It's so much less stressful. It's so much more fun. It's because it doesn't really, in the scheme of things, matter. but it's just because it's a game. Now, what unfortunately, I don't do that kind of talk, and the talk I do has to be predicated on current events, generally speaking. So, I'm not. We're supposed to be talking about the game that the House Republicans are playing, but that's no fun. That's not a fun game. That's maddening and unsettling. And don't you wish you could just grab a bunch of them and bang their heads together? Don't you wish? Yeah. Oh, Joe, thank you. He just sent me a picture of Bill Curry. Jeez. Oh, what style. We use the word loosely. What style? So anyway, okay, I'll stop. You are not doing a sports talk show. You are not doing a sports talk show. You are not. And if your audience wants to hear sports talk, there are places they can go. So. Did you see the Pope said something else? This Pope. Did you see what he said? Well, he just sounds... Listen to this. He said, quote, heads of the church. Now, stop right there. Heads of the church. He's talking about popes and the higher up cardinals. Here's what Pope Francis said yesterday. Heads of the church have often been narcissists, flattered and thrilled by their courtiers. The court is the leprosy of the papacy. Jeez! That sounds almost radical. I mean, that he would say that and call out the higher, and I'm thinking, in some ways, Benedict, who's still living there in the fancier part of the Vatican. Heads of the church have often been narcissistic, flattered, and thrilled by their courtiers. He's trying to bring the courtiers down and free the church from their shenanigans. The court, so he's talking the cardinals, the whatever is the equivalent maybe of the higher up civil service in there, the bureaucracy. The court is the leprosy of the papacy. It's unbelievable to me. And then there's this other thing he said, which freaked me out too. And I wonder if it's a difference in how the definition of certain words are perceived. Because listen to this. He's talking about, yes, a certain reformation of the church and the hierarchy and the way it is governed. And he's, got this special group of 8 cardinals meeting, and this is where he made these remarks, trying to figure out how to fix things a bit, because there is corruption there. And he said that, with the Vatican II, there had been an attempt and the promise that the church would be brought out of the Middle Ages into the modern world. And he said that, while much progress was made then, there's been next to none made since. And listen to then this statement from Pope Francis. This one blows my mind. Talking about making more progress in modernizing the church, he says this, quote, I have the humility and ambition to do so. Now, what I think's interesting about that is I think both those two characteristics which he ascribes to himself, humility and ambition, strike me as fitting uncomfortably together. That in a way it doesn't seem humble to say, I have the ambition to reform this church. So I'm fascinated by that choice, and because I know that popes speak in sometimes a tongue I don't understand, and the words as I understand their meaning mean something slightly different. But I find that is like anyone saying, I have the ambition to alter a 2,000-year-old institution. And in saying that, characterizes himself as humble. Then I don't get that part, and somebody needs to explain that to me. So humility is meaning something there, something else, because I like this guy a lot, but I find that a fascinating sentence. I have the humility and ambition to pick up where Vatican II left off, essentially, is what he's saying. Isn't that a interesting kind of statement? Okie doke, you guys. I'm flying so high, I don't even care if I'm coherent today. I'm taking a break.
Email your questions and comments to Lynn at pghcitypaper.com or call Lynn at 412-316-3381. Lynn Cullen Live will return in a moment.
This week's Pittsburgh City Paper previewing the 2013 Carnegie International is available now. Pick up one today for our special Halloween guide. Plus, Jerry Seinfeld, Celtic Thunder, Soul Asylum, and The Legend of Zelda. Pittsburgh City Paper available at over 1,700 locations throughout Western Pennsylvania and on the web at pghcitypaper.com and on your smartphone with GPS-enabled music, event, and restaurant listings at citypapermobile.com.
Imagine a festival illuminated by the glitter of stars like Steven Spielberg, Yoko Ono, James Franco, Megan Mullally, Gloria Steinem, Miranda Otto, Quincy Jones, Natasha Lyonne, Treat Williams, and Leslie Jordan. You don't have to imagine it. You just have to get real. Real Q is Pittsburgh's annual festival of films about the lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender community. It's returning to the Harris Theater October 11th to the 19th with a really diverse collection of great movies. This year's Real Q includes the sexy Free Fall about a passionate and scandalous love affair, the hilarious GBF about the benefits of having a gay best friend, and the romantic comedy Heterosexual Jill about the complicated social life of a lesbian filmmaker. Once again, Comcast Xfinity subscribers can preview nearly all of the Real Q feature films from the comfort of their living room with their on-demand remote, and everyone can log on to www.realq.org. That's www.reelq.org.
Have a question or an opinion? Call Lynn Cullen at 412-316-3381 or email lynn at pghcitypaper.com. Now, more with Lynn Cullen Live.
Well, I almost regret having asked you guys to send me pictures of Craig Sager's suits, because I have been inundated, and oh my God. Here's a quote. The thing with Craig is he gets away with wearing colors that everyone in the world would be afraid to wear. And he should be afraid to wear too. Yellow, orange, purple. Yeah, and oh my God, it's just the height of bad taste. It's just the height. But, to quote the stripper in Gypsy, you gotta have a gimmick. So that's his gimmick, and he's sticking to it, and it's worked. I guess even I now know who he is. He sticks out like a sore thumb. Here you have it. Well, I just want you to know that I have the humility and the ambition to continue on with this program. And I also want to change the subject a little bit and throw out to you a question that I've seen asked recently, but I haven't yet seen an answer to it. So I'm hoping some of you will know. And this is not political, but first of all, I heard that the guys who own, is it Trader Joe's or Costco or what is it, are opening up a new kind of store where it's going to be groceries, but all it's going to be is stuff that the sell-by date is already past. I mean, it's like old. I'm not kidding. It's like. All right, you like limp lettuce? Come on, all right, come on. Little slight brown twinge. Did I dream that or did I hear that? And the reason being because that sell-by date is not an expiration date. And they're saying that the tonnage of food that Americans throw out every year because they see, when they pull it out of their refrigerator. It's Trader Joe's. Mm-hmm. When they see, sell by and it's yesterday's date, they think, oh, well, I'll get salmonella and I can't possibly, and so they toss it. But so what I don't, and I've understood that, the sell-by date is not an expiration date. But what is the rule? The sell-by date, expiration would then follow how many days later? Or is it dependent on the kind of food it is? Meat being different than produce, being different than a canned good. I don't know. Does anybody know? 9 out of 10 Americans, I have it right here, throw away perfectly edible food purely because the sell-by or best before date has expired. It's assumed that it averages per home about $450 of food that we toss because of a misunderstanding of what that label means. Okay, well, now I understand that that doesn't mean throw it out. But then what, if it doesn't have an end date, how do you know? I don't know. I don't get that. And if somebody can help me there. And by the way, last night I ate a piece of, I think, raw chicken. And I remember as I realized it was raw, almost, that this could kill you. You just ingested something that could kill you. But it was in the middle of the game, and you know what I thought? My next thought was, I don't care! And look, here I am. So it didn't kill me. But it was like what chicken isn't supposed to be. It was pink. It was pink. Oh, it was. It was pink. It had a different... Oh, yeah. It was a little scary. All right. Let's see what else I have here. My sister got pretty angry yesterday talking about the shutdown and the Republicans and repeated what she has said on more than one occasion, which is that she considers it akin to traitors. Traitor is treason. Excuse me. There's another word. Treason. To literally prevent the government from functioning, to stop the country in its tracks because they're having a hissy fit. And hang on, I got one more pirate thing here from one of you. Have you seen the video of Clint Hurdle dancing in the locker room after the game? It's adorable and hysterical. I know it's posted on, check it out, I'll put a smiley. He's just the sweetest man. Yeah, I agree. He just seems like the nicest guy in the universe. The nicest guy in the universe. And he was, to be, he's no spring chicken, to be there and partying like that, and what fun. I'm so happy for them all. I'm just so dang happy. I am. And did you see that McCutcheon was saying that he thinks it's really stupid to chill the champagne because getting hit with ice cold champagne is not pleasant, apparently, whereas room temperature champagne would not be quite as bad. And he said, and nobody seems to drink it anyway. It's not like we're drinking it. We're just spraying it around. Although I saw some folks drinking it. I did. So anyway, back to the treasonous repubs. Susan had said something yesterday about the impact of the shutdown, and I think she said something about the National Institutes of Health and scientific research absolutely shutting down, so that this kind of a shutdown actually will hasten people's deaths, will kill people who, were like one step away from something, and a whole trial maybe shuts down for lack of funding or cannot continue, and then everything goes. I mean, this kind of thing is happening as a result, not only, of the shutdown, but because of sequestration. So this is all gifts from the Republicans and their desire to have government be literally hogtied, literally incapable of functioning. And I don't know, what is the difference between that and, a takeover, a coup d'etat? What is the difference? I'm not sure. And as I said yesterday, people in other countries will say that there's no such thing as their government shutting down, that the only way it would shut down is if there were a coup d'etat. So, anyway, this came past my nose this morning, and it reminded me of what Susan had said yesterday, and I just wanted to share it with you. It's just a little, somebody put this up. On the internet. At the NIH, the National Institutes of Health, Director Francis Collins said that about 200 patients who otherwise would be admitted to the NIH Clinical Center for Clinical Trials each week will be now turned away. This includes about 30 children, most of them cancer patients. And then the person who posted that fact said, for those of us who don't quite get what the NIH does in part, they say this: do you know who goes? Who are these cancer-stricken children who now are not going to be able to get the experimental drugs or clinical trial that they thought they could that would save their lives? So who are these people that go to the NIH for care? And here's the answer: people for whom no other options exist. They are usually the people with the worst disease, who don't have much hope anywhere else. And so, in a last-ditch effort, they go to the NIH to get some cutting-edge experimental treatment that just might keep them alive. So, as Congress and the Republicans sit around this week, reveling in their power, I wonder if any of them will take a minute or so to consider what the parents of these children must be feeling. Well, they have their little tantrum and play their games as if there's no impact. We had a caller yesterday who said, what's the impact? You see any impact? What's the impact? Well, just because you can't see it. You know, if a tree falls in the forest, just because you can't see it. If you live your life in an anecdotal fashion, well, you're not going to be wise, I don't think. There are people whose lives will be hanging in the balance as a result of this. People whose livelihood, certainly, but people whose very health. And so the irony of the Republicans shutting down the government in an effort to shut down Obamacare, and all this happening on the same day that the health exchanges that are the underpinning of Obamacare opened up. It's fascinating, and they know that there's no stopping it. They know that this is lost, but they still won't acquiesce. It really is an extraordinary study in unspeakable irresponsibility. And it's when you realize that these are grown men and a woman or two. There was a picture, I think, in the New York Times where they put the individual pictures and what congressional districts they're from of the real, stalwarts of this Tea Party group in the House. And I was just like looking into their faces. And, they look like they're married, they have children, they're respected people. They were showing how much they were elected by, what percentage of the vote they had in the last election. Some of them had 70%. There are no consequences for them because they come from one of these rigged, jerry-rigged, rejiggered, gerrymandered, safe districts. And there's something happening here that bespeaks a potential real structural issue in a government that has served us well since its founding, but all of a sudden is not. And believe me, if the Founding Fathers could see what's happened here with the gerrymandering, with the so-called safe districts, with the ability of a small minority to literally hold an entire government hostage, despite the fact that the law that they're targeting has been passed, has been signed into law, has in fact been declared constitutional by the Supreme Court, because that was another effort on their part to get rid of it. They've done everything they can to get rid of Obamacare, but the system, our system, made it law. It is law, and they will not accept it. These are not serious people. These are not people who believe in our system. They're dangerous, and they're dangerous to the stability and even to the integrity of a system that has, through lots of difficult periods, stood us as a people in good stead. Actually, Tom Friedman, I think, does a piece today in the New York Times about this, which is titled quite ominously, but I think absolutely correctly, "Our Democracy is at Stake." We'll take a break.
Stick around for more with Lynn Cullen Live after this.
Go to the all-new bergbargains.com for great deals on gift cards from your favorite local restaurants, bars, museums, attractions, and shows. This month, big discounts on your favorite Halloween attractions. Supplies are limited. The all-new bergbargains.com, Pittsburgh's best bargains, bergbargains.com.
Come to Little's for all of your back-to-school needs. Little's has everything for all ages to stay in style for this upcoming school season. Check out the large selection from Doc Marten, Steve Madden, UGG, Clarks, Lely Kelly, New Balance, and much, much more. Don't forget to come visit this season's colorful handbag selection as well. Little Shoes, Pittsburgh's largest family shoe store, 5850 Forbes Avenue in Squirrel Hill.
This is Les Ludwig, an independent candidate for mayor of the city of Pittsburgh. I ask for your vote on November 5th, and here's why. Some candidates play politics. I stand for a secure position in regards to fracking, one that's based on my background as a food technologist and opportunities that were presented in my lifetime in the dairy industry when I was a food chemist for the United States Army in Washington, D.C., and the dairy products literally stunk. Someone had to go ahead and take a stand. I did the chemistry, and I stood tall. What are we doing here with fracking? We have a fight between money and public safety. No one has defined clearly where the danger level is in the distance from the wells. Until we take the moratorium for 3 years and find out what that answer is, I have to stand on the side of public health, not on the side of $500 million of money. It's a mistake, because when we poison our water, we literally sentence ourselves to big trouble. I ask you for your vote and the question of standing tall when it comes to making a decision about fracking. Let's keep Allegheny County and its citizens safe. I thank you.
You're listening to Lynn Cullen Live at pghcitypaper.com. Once again, here's Lynn Cullen.
Okay, catching up with you guys again. Ansel writes, so I'm reading today that conservative groups are asking that people who are against Obamacare go to the website for Obamacare, healthcare.gov, and do it often in hopes that they will crash the site, that they will slow it down at the very least, which has happened, and render it unusable. And there were there is some evidence to the that is, in fact, what's happening. And there's also a lot of interest. So, of course, one would expect huge traffic on that site yesterday. But I believe, is it Governor Cuomo in New York has said that he thinks something is going on that is clearly sabotage. And he wanted to look into it. And Ansel writes, aren't attacks on government websites usually considered to be like a kind of terrorism? Ansel also writes, the Navy, the Army, and Air Force football games are canceled because of the shutdown. It's also ridiculous. And finally, why were the Pirates wearing goggles during the champagne showers? Is champagne bad for your eyes? I think it might sting. I think it might sting. I don't think it's necessarily bad, but I don't think it feels good. That's my guess. Okay, Ray has been heard from, and his subject line is Pirates and Pope. Let's see what Ray has to say. I was at the game chanting Kyoto, Kyoto with the other 40,000. I just don't like that. I don't know. I can't help it. And then Ray says, don't feel bad for him or for the Reds. In a fight on the field a couple of years ago, Kyoto kicked a Cardinal catcher so many times in the head that he had to retire. Jason LaRue, I think. Bad team with a bad attitude got their comeuppance. Okay, well, I don't know from that. All I know is this was Marge Schott's team, right? So screw him, right? Yeah. The Marge Schott rule still applies. Screw him. You're absolutely right. As for the Pope, Ray says, I think that humility is in contrast to the narcissism he suggests has taken over the leadership. He may be saying the changes must bring the leaders down to earth and require a humbling. He said, I have the humility and the ambition to do it. Ray also writes, Ray, you're such a fount of information, thank you, that the afternoon games are because there are 2 games that day and both need to be televised. All right. But people are, what are we supposed to do? And on Friday, I'm going to be in the air. I'll be on the air, I'll do the show, and then I'm going to be in the air. And then okay, whatever. It is what it is, it is what it is, it is what it is. So here, I'll just give you what I mentioned I'm not Howard Feynman. I did mention Howard Feynman, but that's not who I mean. I'm thinking of another Jew, Thomas Friedman. And here's what he says. I'll just quote this one thing. He usually annoys the hell out of me, but I do think that this is... He's talking specifically about the danger to our democracy and the structure that we think of as such as, this brilliant structure that the Founding Fathers came up with of, countervailing forces and checks and balances, and nothing happens without compromise and all of that. And that served us well. And now it's been absolutely put on its head because we now have a sizable hunk of people who have been elected to the Congress who do not believe in that system. They believe in a winner-take-all system. They believe in a ends justify the means system. They believe in win-at-all-cost system. They believe compromise is a dirty word. Can our system survive? Tom Friedman writes this. What we're seeing here is how 3 structural changes that have been building in American politics have now, together, reached a tipping point. Creating a world in which a small minority in Congress can not only hold up their own party, but can hold up the whole government. And this is the really scary part. The lawmakers doing this can do so with high confidence that they personally will never be punished and may in fact be rewarded. When extremists feel that insulated from playing by the rules of our system, if we do not defend those rules, namely majority rule, and the fact that if you don't like a policy passed by the Congress and signed by the president and affirmed by the Supreme Court, then you have to go out and win an election to overturn it. You just can't put a fiscal gun to the government's head, to the country's head. And unless we do stop this, there can be no compromise with these people who will not compromise. There can be none. Our democracy is imperiled if this works out for them in any way. As simple as that. As simple as that. Okay. Oh, Chris writes, so what do you mean? Aren't you going to be on 4802 Friday night? That's our debut. That's the current event show on WQED television that I am a regular panelist on. And no, the answer is no, I won't. And the answer is no, I won't. I have a family event in Chicago that I must be at. So I'm not there Friday. I'll be there the next Friday. All right? Okay? I'm starting a week late. Chris writes, it's been a long drought. We need you there. If you're not there, who's going to replace you? I don't know. Look, Valerie McDonald Roberts can more than hold her own, and then they'll bring somebody else in, like, I don't know, John Pro, somebody, whoever they bring in for me when I'm not there. And even sometimes when I'm there, I could use somebody to help. Because sometimes, I don't know. I hate those, just to be honest with you, and you know this, I don't like those kind of shows. There's no time to really say much of anything. I'm used to being able, as you know, to pontificate ad nauseum. And on a show like that with 5 people in a half hour, covering sometimes 3 and 4 topics, I just am so aware that I don't have any time that I often, try to say something in 20 words or less and then shut up. And I just feel like, I don't know. I don't understand what purpose is served. What purpose is served with all this blather? Speaking of blather, I'm looking at a picture of a disgusting-looking human being. He happens to be a white male, whatever. He's apparently some conservative activist. He is, I'm not even going to give his name because, well, I wouldn't give him the pleasure. But he's somebody who people listen to on occasion and has, gotten his points of view up into the national conversation, and listen to his latest. He says this: I believe that Barack Obama is in fact our first gay president. But I believe this for entirely different reasons. What do you mean, entirely different reasons? I believe the man actually is gay. Well, don't tell me his marriage to Michelle and having 2 children disproves that he's gay. And then he goes on to claim that Obama lived a closeted life in Chicago and as a state senator. And he also says that he does think Obama is a Christian and not a Muslim because people of the Muslim faith are, quote, known to stone someone for being gay, so that the president is Christian so that at least he's not stoned to death for being gay. He rhetorically asks, would you be a Muslim if it put you at risk for being killed because of your lifestyle choices? So, no, I don't think he's a Muslim, but clearly he is gay. What do we do with these people? What do we... God knows they're doing something to us. I personally do not like it when certain unserious people tamper with and threaten something which I hold dear and even more than dear, which I am a proud American, and I am proud of this experiment in representational government. And the distortion that is going on of that system now by these malcontents is and dangerous people is really I don't know what it is. What are the rest of us who are sort of more mature? What is it we're supposed to do? I think be a lot noisier than we are. That's one possibility, I would think. Well, is that it? I think that's it. Tom Sokolowski, by the way, will not be here tomorrow. He's off gallivanting around someplace. So it'll just be me and you again. And then on Friday we'll have Chris Potter. And we'll also be in the second game of the playoff series. I can't believe it. Okay, so I want to tell you, my sister Susan in St. Louis was texting me during the game, and she was so supportive, and she was so happy. She really, 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 really was, and and she has welcomed us to St. Louis. But now it's going to be weird because, I mean, as much as she, has been supportive, now push is coming to shove. So I'm just going to ask her, how could you break the heart of a city like ours? I just want to know if she can live with that. It's not like St. Louis needs another postseason win. They've had more than their share. So we'll see. It's going to be hard on my family. That's it for me. I'm done. And I'll talk at you again tomorrow. Keep the faith and go Bucks!
Lynn Cullen Live, Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and archived at pghcitypaper.com. The opinions expressed on Lynn Cullen Live are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the viewpoints of Pittsburgh City Paper, Steel City Media, and its advertisers.